Anderson, the role of councilman?
I would say the role of councilman would be you're basically the steward of the citizens' tax money. You need to make sure that it's spent in a proper manner and that it represents all the citizens of Burley rather than just one group or another group. In the business that I'm in problem solving every day. That's what I do. And what you have to do is you have to first identify the problem, then you have to come up with a strategy to solve that problem, and then you actually have to do it. And that would be my role as a city councilman.
Thank you. Mr. Dean?
I look at the city council as a board of directors. We have a mayor and we have a city administrator that should take care of the day-to-day running of the city. If there's a personnel problem that doesn't get resolved to everybody's satisfaction, or a citizen has a problem with the services that those two can't handle, then they should come in front of the council. The council should set the budget. The council should do the long-range planning, and they should implement policies and procedures that lead us towards that long-range goal. And they shouldn't meddle too much in the day-to-day running of the city unless there's a problem that can't be resolved any other way.
Mr. McGill and Mr. Dean mentioned the city administrator. Political scientists talk about a mayoral system in city council, and of course Twin Falls has a city manager, a professional administrator, and Burley does as well now. Maybe if you can do this quickly, and I think it's Mr. Goulet's turn. I think we heard maybe a couple comments on the city manager. I have 3 questions. What are your thoughts about the city administrator and how it works? Are you like the city administrator, yay or nay? Mr. Burley?
Yes, I believe that if you understand it, like, if you do the research on it, you'll understand that the city administrator is worth what we pay him, because that's what he does. And so I agree with it. There's times when you can look at it and think that it's maybe too expensive, but you see, when you boil it down and you understand it, you'll understand that that's not the case. See, it's always about understanding what actually is happening at the city council. It is always about that. And if you don't show up and listen, then it's not anybody's right to spread any kind of misinformation. It's never anybody's right to do that because it harms people. And see, we need to be respectful of each other. And so, yes, I agree. I know I keep going back on that thing, but I agree that it's something that we need and we should keep.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hanson, I think you commented in favor of the city administrator. You have thoughts on that?
I think having a paid professional as our chief executive officer to run the operations of the city is very desirable. I watched firsthand on my first term as we transitioned from a full-time mayor and a strong city clerk to a part-time mayor and full-time city administrator. And a wave of positive change came through the city. Not all of it was easy, and it's an ongoing process, but the experience that was brought to our community from the education and experience gained in other communities was tremendous. And our current administrator had the vision to see early in the game that we needed a new waste treatment plant. I don't know that that would have been as apparent had we not had that expertise brought in from the outside, and that I think is the best thing we've done. It's the thing I'm the most proud of is my service to the community is accomplishing the construction and funding of a waste treatment plant, and especially the fact that this community was willing to fund the construction of a plant much larger than what we needed at that current time. It was at great expense, and I think that the benefits are apparent of of that, having a paid professional run the day-to-day operation of the city.
Mr. McGill, you commented about being at the board of directors, work as city manager, and is that working well, or you're happy?
Well, actually, Mr. Dean brought up the board of directors comment, but I can run with that. I'm absolutely positive that having a city administrator is by far the best way to go. It brings continuity from year to year. It brings professionalism and consistency. I can only imagine going 4 years with a competent mayor that was able to handle the job of city management, and then to elect somebody that's a very nice guy and very likable that doesn't have a clue how to balance his own checkbook. So it's imperative to maintain a professional. Our city administrator is very, very professional. And I will point out that he does have a sense of humor, but you really have to pick at it to find it. He's very professional, and I admire the job that gets done. He's open to suggestions, and it's just very important and works very well for the city of Burley.
Is that correct, Mr. Dean? Did you say you were on the board of directors?
No, I said I look at the council as a board.
Oh, I got you. My apologies, Mr. McGill. I apologize for that. Yeah. I think that, well, so the point is, in Twin Falls, we're talking about moving away from the city manager because of concerns about what we call responsible government. And that is the city manager, his administrator, is not up for election, where y'all are. Mr. Anderson, you got thoughts on the city administrator system?
Well, I agree with Mr. McGill about the consistency that you get when you have a professional administrator. You could have one mayor that knows about fiscal things and knows regulations and knows how to deal with those kind of things, and everything will be fine. And then you get another guy that he knows how to have a nice park or how to, do all kinds of other things, but he has no idea about tax issues and EPA and all the. I mean, government's a lot more complicated than it was even 20 years ago, and you need a lot more. I think when you're in the administration part of the city, you need to have a lot more knowledge as far as all the different divisions that you have to deal with, and I don't think you can get that, consistently out of 4 years at a time.
Okay, Mr. Dean?
I think essentially the same thing. There are so many rules and regulations in the federal government and the state government that if you elected a mayor and he never came to the office and he just studied for 4 years, he might start to learn his job, and then he might not get elected again. And the city administrator is he's answerable to the council and to the mayor. And if he's not doing a good job, he can be replaced. He's not elected, but there are people elected who have the power to keep him or fire him. And in 1 2-year period, we got 4 $500,000 block grants from the state of Idaho, and I don't think we'd ever done that if we didn't have somebody who knew how to work the system.
Mr. Dexter, you got thoughts?
I think we're very fortunate to have Mark Minton working for us. He has a lot of knowledge that he's brought to the table with us. He has experience to get the grants, things like that, knows where to search for assistance. He understands economic development. And I don't know that I don't know many mayors that really know that city government like that well. So yes, I am an advocate of the city administrator.
I just say that of our questions, we had the majority of questions addressing that issue. I have